Alright, the next valve we're going to talk about is the Duco Series 200 Bi-Directional Bubble Tight Shutoff Perimeter Seated Knife Gate Valve. It's a two-piece body compared to the one-piece NPV casting. These are two separate castings that are totally machined. Internally, these castings are machined, precision machined, bolted together. The O-ring, as you can see here, what we call a perimeter seated valve. This O-ring is placed into a machine groove that's serrated and has notches in it so that the O-ring will not come out of the valve due to pressures or movement of the gate up and down, and the O-ring will also not move up and down as the gate travels. It will not come out of this pocket. It's almost impossible to get it out, even using a screwdriver and a hammer or something to try to wedge the O-ring out of the valve. That's important because in many cases this valve is being used around the paper machines, on the refiner isolation valve, where it's critical that O-rings do not come out, get into the refiners, and then get into the head box, which ultimately would get onto the paper and ruin an entire roll of paper. So the perimeter seated valve is a full ported valve. They're available in 2-inch to 30-inch size. Also could be available in 36, 42, and 48, depending upon the quantities and materials, etc. The valve body is all 317 stainless steel except for the hand wheel, which is corrosion resistant cast aluminum. And the valve is offered minimum materials 254 SMO, 2205, Astelloy material, alloy 20, everything from our foundry except titanium. If we need titanium, we do have to go to an outside foundry. All Duco bodies, as I said, are full ported. The gate is the gate is 316 stainless steel, chrome plated. The gate is fully guided throughout the stroke, so you don't have to worry about the valve or the gate being bent if there's a back pressure. This valve operates independently of flow direction. It doesn't matter which position you put the valve in. The valve is going to seal in either position. There's no preferred flow division. So even Bubba can't put the valve in backwards at a given time, okay? Which happens quite often with a unidirectional valve, as I said earlier. So the perimeter seat is captured into the body, and that is one of the key benefits of this valve. This O-ring will not come out. And the valve is available in 150-pound pressure rating. Higher pressure ratings are available depending upon the quantities. Duco valve, the Duco valve, which is an NPV Duco valve, is just a model, is competitive against other perimeter seated valves, as well as with things like with other valves like the Fabry C67, the row valve, and other perimeter seated valves. Not necessarily are we less expensive, but we're very competitive for what you get, because there are very few manufacturers, if any at all, that give you a standard valve with non-rising stem. It's very important. It's a safety issue. It's also good in high vibration areas. And all of the top works of this valve from this point down is stainless steel to prevent corrosion, so that when your operators go out to use the valve, the darn thing is going to work and not fall apart. When you go to adjust the packing gland, everything is stainless steel. You can adjust the packing gland. They're not going to be corroded like I see many valves out in the field. So we can do many things with this valve. It's good for heavy stock, up to 12–14%. Heavy lime slurry, which we use in the power plants, fly ash, wet ash, cement plants, waste treatment facilities, anything that has a heavy slurry, this valve will work in. Why? Because it has no cavity in the body, zero cavity in the body of this valve. And I missed a good point. The body half, because they are precision machined, it is literally impossible to get foreign products up into the packing gland area. The body halves themselves are really the scrapers for the gate. You don't need to have scraper blades in here, because the body halves clean the gate off when it rises. So nothing builds up into the packing area. And we have the same triple packing in here with a piece of Carrera packing on the top, the elastomer O-ring in the center, and another piece of packing at the bottom. And of course there's more packing depending on the size of the valve. And the packing ranges in size from 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch to 1/2 inch size packing material. Now, the important thing with the Duco valve is we can use it in many applications. As I said, for instance, if we were going to use this in a highly abrasive application, but you want tight shutoff, the perimeter seat remains in the valve, so we're using the perimeter seated shutoff capability. And then what we do is we put what we call a 3/17 or a solid 420 stainless steel heat treated and hardened cone deflector. So, and it's normally going to be a 400 series cone deflector. So the cone deflector fits in this side of the valve. Now that's your inlet side, but of course the flange is machined out, so it's the same face to face. But the cone deflector directs the flow of the material that's abrasive away from the seat. So if I'll turn it around here, as you can see now, this is the cone deflector. This is the elastomer O-ring, and you have zero cavity behind this valve. So if this valve is vertical, if it's horizontal, if it's upside down, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But now the valve would have a preferred flow direction. Obviously, you want the flow coming in the direction of the cone deflector. And this valve, I've used it successfully in cement plants where you have abrasive powders, pellets. Sabic Plastics is using it. Many of the power plants in heavy lime slurry, 25 to 28% lime slurries, lime mud applications and so forth. This valve is being successfully used, okay? And if you have any other application, maybe there's another variable we can do to the valve. Now, of course, all the valves are suitable for cylinders. It's very easy to mount our cylinder on this because it has the same type of stanchion and bridge operation or manufacturing on the top, so it's easy to change this from a manual valve to a cylinder operated valve. Again, 2-inch through 30-inch and standard 150-pound class, but we can make specials if necessary. Another point of the Duco valve, said earlier, it's a non-rising stem. So this is the clevis that is connected to the gate. So when you turn the hand wheel, the clevis is going up and down the screwed stem, threaded stem. And important to prevent from damaging these valves, because that happens often, is that we have a stop, a mechanical stop, to try to prevent over-torquing of the valve, as this is an interference fit valve, and it's not like a normal gate valve where the old crane manual used to tell you to close the valve and then put a valve wrench to it and turn it another half a turn. Once you hit the stop, the valve is completely shut off, bubble tight shut off in either direction.